People say that growth comes from pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. In 2015, a group of friends from around the world embodied this concept completely, and they've been documenting themselves ever since, calling their experiment Yes Theory.
I'm not like a filmmaker. I make films because there's an experience that I want to direct, and I want someone to perceive what I lived in a way that can share the wisdom or the knowledge that I received through going through that experience.
It's taken them 10 years to get to this point, but their body of work is now one of the truest expressions of what it means to live outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, you got the view and you got their attention, but do you have their heart and their soul? I'm not trying to make someone sit back and be in the comfort of watching an entertaining piece of content. I'm trying to get someone to cry.
Good work. Thermal cover's closed.
Ammar, what are we about to watch here? What is this?
Yeah, so this was an episode that we filmed back in January when we did a trip to Korea and Japan. And we have had interest in blue zones around the world. And this was the first time Thomas, myself, Stefan, Tommy, and Corey were on a trip together. So that's also a part of the energy and the vibe that you'll get is us being so excited that we get to film something together.
Let's jump right in.
Amazing.
What do the longest living humans on the planet know that we don't? Doctors, scientists, and dietitians have been looking for the secrets of longevity for centuries, and in that process, we've now uncovered healthier ways of...
How many editors do you work with?
We work with 5 editors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Full-time?
Full-time, across 2 different channels and all our socials.
How long does it take to put a video like this together, start to finish?
An average of 10 to 14 days.
For a post-production?
Yeah.
Okay. And then including production when you are brainstorming ideas for it?
Production, that varies so much because sometimes it's an idea that we have and the following week we're out traveling to do it. And sometimes it's an idea that we've been brewing on for a long time. So for instance, our most recent video, the fake Paris in China.
A real city that apparently some people live in, which is also a copy of Paris in China.
That video has been in production for, a year if you'd say that. So it really varies a lot. And also, right now we are going in a weekly cadence, not every 2 weeks. So we have big productions, big videos being edited in a week. So we adjust at different times during the year, depending on how we feel our audience is going to respond.
Right. Now you guys didn't obviously start with 5 editors.
No, the first editor was Thomas. He kind of set the tone for the storytelling style for Yes Theory, the voiceover driven storytelling.
From a small industrial city in the middle of the desert in Egypt, Ammar moved away from home on his own when he was 15 to pursue education abroad, starting in South Africa.
He's incredible at scoring. I think that was one thing that our videos always had since the very beginning. The quality of the filming, was very bad at the beginning, but when I go back to our videos, I always see the music was always good, and it's because Thomas always had the sense for that.
Too many of us settle for mediocre lives. We sometimes fail to realize that life isn't just a series of goals to be achieved, but rather a journey to be celebrated along the way.
Is he actually scoring it, or is he using tracks?
Yeah, he's using tracks.
But he finds just the right track and gets the emotion.
And sometimes we would be living an experience and he would immediately know what goes on that. So it's almost happening live as we're in the experience. Sometimes we would be out filming all day, and then because there's a specific funny moment or some joke that someone said, he would just get obsessive and he would go before bed for an hour, look a song for the specific thing that he's not even sure if it's going to end up in the edit or not, but he's just that's his world, and he loves playing like that.
It makes sense to me because the right song in the right moment with the right visuals can just make the whole story work.
Absolutely.
Cured diseases, and technology has given us virtually everything we'd ever want at our fingertips. With the rapid advancement in technology over the past century, however, you'd think we'd have mastered peak human health. Instead, we're noticing an increase in levels of high stress, mental health issues, heart disease, cancer, and dementia.
This is such a good setup for this video. It's fast. The shots are incredible. You're making us care about this 25-minute long journey that we're about to go on. Who writes the voiceover that we're hearing right now? Do you do that together? Does one of you do it per video? How do you actually write the scripted parts of the videos that you make?
Yeah, so it depends. It's mostly Thomas, since he's the main storyteller on the channel. But if I'm gonna make a video that pertains to a story that I want to tell my way, then I'll do the voiceover for that. But it's mainly Thomas, and depending on geographically where we are, sometimes it's a collaborative process. If it's more of a tricky video where we really want to make sure that the perspective is on point, or I think this one he wrote the whole thing himself.
How do you guys divvy up responsibilities between the hosts? Like what are each of you responsible for in Yes Theory besides like hosting?
I would say I've always been responsible for directing, and it's a very interesting thing because it's like an unscripted, like, what am I directing? It's like we're just out in the world, but always just being like, oh, let's actually film this from this angle, and like being able to think on the fly as something like an authentic experience, as we're going through an authentic experience that we want to be able to live and be very present with, but at the same time capture in a way that does that experience justice. And I feel like that's been the skill that I've been honing on over the past years, really being able to just do both. I don't need to be so aware that the cameras are here, or like or even be so concerned that like, oh well, I'm backlit. Like I can let things go, and it's not really about, like, my job as a director is not to try and get the most perfect shot, but it's try to get the most authentic expression of the moment that I lived, because the power of Yes Theory is in showing someone an authentic expression of a moment, not a cinematic masterpiece of a perfectly shot intro or like an experience that I had.
I love that way of thinking about it, because I think your videos do that really well. A lot of the cinematic moments in the film and the feelings of I'm watching a movie come from these drone shots, the way you set it up, the structure, the 3-act structure of these videos, and then also fucking relax when you're in these moments with each other, drinking and meeting other people and having fun. And those moments feel so raw and real, which is, we don't see a lot of that on YouTube. And I think the authentic expression of a moment, which is, I think, the framing you use, it just so comes through in your videos, and it's so attractive. It makes me feel like, man, I want to be with these guys. I want to like be there hanging with them. It's a great feeling.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's always been like very intentional. Even as I direct, my relationship with the camera is I'm placing it as the third friend, the fourth friend, this other person in the room who's experiencing the thing with us, not a viewer. I'm not trying to make someone just be like sit back and just like be in the comfort of watching an entertaining piece of content. I'm actually trying to engage someone with the moment. I'm trying to get someone to cry if we're living through an emotional, reflection from someone in another country where they are sharing a perspective that I've never thought about. All these different moments that's like the goal with what we do in Yes Theory. So it's always about, really understanding what's the purpose of the camera and in the experience that you're having, and acting based on that.
Okay, so when you're focusing on these moments, does that affect how and where you hold the camera and how you shoot something?
Totally. Like if I'm the one filming and I'm trying to get something POV, and my choice is either to frame the person and make sure that the camera is not shaking, or I'm just gonna hold it here. I'm definitely gonna hold it here. I'm doing it because the most important thing is in this person's expression of their own moment that I'm trying to capture is that I'm the most present with them. And especially when someone that is not used to having a camera in their face, preserving this person's feel of connection with me is going to serve the story better than me not having the 3 extra shakes that I had because I'm holding the camera here.
Such a cool way to think about that. I love that.
Thank you.
That we've known around the world for millennia, that we've left
that was
behind
probably our footage.
This one?
That's our footage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's another a component that I've just been so grateful for, that has added so much to the cinematic feel of our videos without compromising the authenticity of what people experience when they watch Yes Theory, is having Corey Martin, who's a brilliant cinematographer, director. I've been working with him for over 3 years now. He was the field director for Project Iceman, which is the feature film that we released last year. And he just has this ability to also be in the craziest, most extreme circumstances and be so fine capturing whatever is happening. Like we will literally hang him on the side of a mountain, like that happened, filming people who are harvesting, hallucinogenic honey. So I think having him be so versatile and able to not have us interrupt our process of living. And that's the number one thing, even, you know, back to my role as director, like to monitor the energy of every single person that joins is the number one thing that I'm looking for as a director, because I'm directing the energy. And I just because my background is not, I'm not like a filmmaker. I'm now like been interested in it, and I've, you know, gotten better over the years, and I've, you know, taken on the challenge to make a full feature film, and I love it. But I make films because there's an experience that I want to direct, and I want someone to perceive what I lived in a way that is, you know, does it justice, but also can share the wisdom or the knowledge that I received through going through that experience. That's
something that I think comes through in all of your videos, and I think that, and you guys have all this in common. It's very high empathy, high EQ, like strong understanding of like the emotional component of a moment. And I think that's like the sort of foundation that makes a lot of your stories work, is like an understanding of the core emotion that is like at the center of the film, and making that really resonant, and everything it seems like everything feeds into making that emotion more resonant, more powerful. So it's actually not surprising when I hear you say that that's kind of how you think about your role as a director. You know, it's that rings very true for me. You've mentioned this feature doc a couple times. What is that project? What are you working on?
That's Project Iceman. It's actually, we're at the very end of that journey, because it started in 2019 when I met this guy who said that he wanted to do the first ever Ironman distance triathlon in Antarctica. But, you know, it wasn't just about the athletic feat. There was something deeper in the story, and the way it was like the defiance of this expectation that was put on him by everyone that listened to him announce his dream. And I just thought there was something so deep in that story that I wanted to express, and it was very aligned with what I've been trying to do with the S theory. So 2019 up until today, I've went through a long journey of making this film. First, it was supposed to go on a streaming platform, and it was like a full-blown deal. It was like $1 million plus. And then realized that you'd lose creative control over certain elements that I just could not afford to lose on, you know, a first project where I wanted to fully express myself the way I wanted to express it. And then through the help of the S theory community, within the last in 2022, we managed to finish the film funded by the S theory community, and we were able to do a 12-stop world tour where we shared the film with the community around the world, the last one being 3 days ago in Brazil. And now my favorite part of this is getting to deliver on this intention that I really wanted this project to end up on YouTube, not on some gated streaming platform where you have to pay $10 a month for it. I was born and raised in Egypt, and I couldn't, you know, if I'm a young person in Egypt right now and I want to watch something, if I don't have a credit card, I won't be able. And Project Iceman is a story for everyone. The film is actually live right now on YouTube. We released it for free for the whole world to enjoy on December 20th. So if you're listening to this, it's out on YouTube. Look up Project Iceman.
Life that we've known around the world for millennia, that we've left behind in our pursuit for more. Well, there are a few places around the world who have unknowingly, even to them,
is that your footage?
Somehow preserved
some
magic.
stock. Yeah.
And because of this, many live way above the age of 100. One of these places is an island hidden in the East China Sea, some call the land of immortals. This begs the glaring question.
Is that your shot? This drone shot here?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
With the time ramping and everything, your editors, they're really good.
They've been just, and they get just, you know, I only mentioned, you know, Thomas starting and then Tommy taking the torch, but we have Cam, we have Harrison, we have Aiden, like all the rest of the team who just do an incredible job, and especially Cam, who's been with us now for 5 years. He's the one based in Australia.
Do the editors do the sound design as well?
Yeah.
So you don't have like a sound team. So they're okay, because what I was going to point out is if you listen here as you're watching this.
This begs the glaring question.
There's that wonderful whoosh sound effect there. And so there's something that really great editors have, which is like, how do I make what I'm hearing match what I'm seeing? And all of the impacts and whooshes and ramps and risers, all of that just, it syncs up so well in the Yes Theory video. So I was wondering if it's like a particular sound team or if it's just your visual editors who are that good at audio.
The visual editors and, especially between, Cam and Tommy, they just have such an incredible sense for music and sound effects. And
how did you find these editors?
So Tommy is Matt's brother, and the rest of the editors were watching Yes Theory.
Just people, fans from the community.
Yeah, from the community, yeah.
And then, but how did you make a post and say?
Yeah. So there's been multiple, rounds of, I guess, moments where we've put out call outs for editors to apply. And now there's like some sort of a permanent, way where editors can get in touch through the website.
Do they like submit a reel or something?
Yeah, exactly. Because we're always looking for editors. So yeah, it's been amazing because someone who's coming through this culture of, Yes Theory that you're trying to enhance by having another editor come and like they know understanding what their job is.
So cool. Amazing.
What are they doing differently? What are the forgotten truths core to our well-being as humans that we forgot? And is it too late
Amazing track.
to remember them? Well, after weeks of back and forth while we were filming our series in Japan, we got in contact with some locals from this island who agreed to host us for a few days. And in our final story in the country of Japan, we were lucky enough to be joined by a full team, including Ammar, Corey, Staffan, Tommy, and myself for the very first time.
This is the Avengers, huh?
Wow, we assembled for the first time.
To go discover the hidden secrets of the island of Okinawa.
Love that bass push right when the title hits. So it's just all over the Yes Theory videos. Those great little moments.
And it's like, you especially here, you're now marking the end of the intro. There's some, subtleties for giving people like sonic references for like, okay, now something is ended or something's about to begin. All these subtleties is really what gets you to watch something without noticing that you just watched something.
Yes.
Like the better it is, the more subtle it is.
Yes. They find themselves at the end and it's like, oh, you kind of wake up and you're like, oh, I just was watching a thing for 25 minutes.
Yeah. And that's the best, like the best movies is when you have that feeling at the end.
Yes.
Like, wow, I just watched Contact 2 days ago. Matthew McConaughey and Judy Foster.
Oh my God, dude, such a good movie.
It's incredible.
You know who I found recently? She was just on the show, and I think I would put her in the Yes Theory camp of like quality stories that are just beautiful and you forget you're watching. Her name is Natalie Lynn.
A lot of like playing around in the editing. Like a lot of the times I'll film stuff and I don't know what I'm going to do with it until I am editing. I guess I just...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay,
she's
so
incredible.
Incredible filmmaker. All right, here we go.
Okay,
one of the things I love about like Van Neistat too is like patience in storytelling and filmmaking.
Driving stick is a creative exercise.
YouTube is getting so fast pace
of Okinawa.
Boom, and then oh my God, it's so long. You're lingering on that title for like 8 seconds.
Yeah. But it's also, we're very aware. So we just, we're 2 minutes in and we drove so much information into people's like, Okinawa, probably they've never heard of it. They're like, okay, people there live long, but why? And that's the problem with the way YouTube is running now, this retention editing of like, you can't leave a split second of someone to just sit with an idea.
Right.
We're almost going the opposite direction as the rest of the platform is going.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm not trying to adopt this retention editing to our intro, because even though you could logically make sense that like, well, the intro, you want to hook people, it's like the first few minutes, you really got to sell them, they got to be there the whole time. But not with that energy. Like even the way I was saying it, it's like so frantic. Here, your best bet is to make sure that you're presenting something that can condition someone to like sit down for 22 minutes for this story. So by not giving away pacing that is like misleading at the beginning, you actually create a better
an expectation.
Exactly.
You're setting expectations with your audience that this is going to be a patient story.
Yeah.
Sit back, put on your earphones. Yeah. Come on this journey with us.
And I promise it's in the subtlety of adding an extra second to that title rather than just going straight to the the next scene.
1000% agree. And actually, my favorite movies are really good at setting those types of expectations. Stanley Kubrick is really good, like 2001. It's just like these long sequences. Another Ridley Scott's Alien.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh man, Ammar, it's like, it is the most patient horror movie you could ever imagine. It's so slow and terrifying, and he's not afraid of leaving the extra 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's just a great film.
I'm gonna check it.
Yeah.
This is really exciting. I feel like we've never done a trip all together like this.
I love the change in tone with the music now.
To get to the specific village, we have to rent a car and drive higher up north to the wilderness. Look, it says Heartful Friendship in Okinawa on our car.
Hey. What's your first impression?
It's not very pretty. The southern part of Okinawa
love
feels like
this.
it's very industrial.
But in my mind, I was like, oh, we're gonna arrive at this like very tiny community. It's definitely like the complete opposite of what I landed thinking that we're gonna be in.
Yeah.
But hopefully, we'll see where we're going. We're like still an hour away.
This is such an honest take on travel.
Yeah.
That is so counter narrative. It's such a heterodox opinion on what it feels like to arrive in a new place. People would show the drone shot and the fruit trees and farmers, and you guys are just like, this is kind of shitty.
Yeah, totally.
It's so good. It's so real.
But then ultimately it also sets up the whole conflict for, the rest of the story. And again, these are the things where it's not like in the car we go in being like, oh, we shouldn't give away that this place is amazing. We should maybe like downplay. We don't think that, but it's like kind of naturally that end up because we're living the authentic experience of what we're going through. And I don't need to worry about like, oh, is there enough stakes right now? I just see so much advice that is like, how to like hack every second of someone's attention to like bring them to a story, and almost only at the end to make them feel like they were forced to watch what you just fed them. And you got the view and you got their attention, but do you have their heart and their soul invested in what they're just watching? I think most cases no.
I think I've been spending a lot of time with AI recently, just like ChatGPT and image creation, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I think AI is really bad at still is like, what is opposite of the common wisdom that is actually really true? I feel like artists are great at that.
Wow.
That's what you're doing. What you're doing is like, all that common wisdom, fuck all that. We're going to do something totally different, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And AI sucks at that right now. AI can only do what is the sort of average wisdom.
Aggregation.
Yes. And what great artists do, like Yes Theory and Natalie Lynn and a handful of folks I think are truly extraordinary. You guys are like, okay, I know the common wisdom, and I'm just not going to do that at all. And I'm still going to make something incredible. And in that sense, you're showing us all a different path forward. You're carving a new path forward, which is really inspiring as a viewer when I see something that is different and good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot coming from you, man. It's crazy.
Okay, we are rolling into
Beautiful shot. So good.
You smell that?
What is it?
No, I don't. What do I smell?
Adventure.
Konnichiwa, nice to meet you. Konnichiwa, nice to meet you. Yogi.
Ammar.
Okay, so the sound in all these clips is actually pretty good. Are you guys wearing wireless lavs, or is it just camera audio?
No, just Rode mics.
And so we can hear everything just from a Rode mic mounted on the shoe of the camera.
Yeah.
So nobody wears a wireless. How come you don't wear lavs?
Because it increases setup time, that we will undoubtedly lose a lot of what we do because there's just like laving and is it scratching and the thing is falling and it's just the whole thing. That's why even the setup here is just like doing this is so different than we just allow us to get in the conversation right away. In the Yes Theory, always prioritize getting to the core of the moment and the interaction that is supposed to happen rather than like being so consumed by the filming of it.
And I have to ask you about your guys' relationships. I know you show conflict sometimes in your films, but it just seems like you're so in touch with each other, and it seems like a really healthy relationship where you're giving a lot of feedback, receiving feedback, open, humble.
Yeah.
Like you have this really wonderful approach. Does it actually always feel like that, or does it ever get like dark and hard? Like, do you guys ever go to therapy together? Like, is it ever like brutal?
Yeah, I mean, you're about to also thanks for the quote on the book. I just remembered.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm thinking about the book because the book has a lot of the behind the scenes of these moments that,
right.
Yeah, of course it's because we go through that and we have managed to navigate it is why people can still watch and like laugh at a moment like that, even though it's just like, it's not like the funniest joke, but there is some, I'm authentically making that joke with them, and I'm not making it because the camera's on, oh, that would be a funny thing to say. I'm fucking around with my friends.
Right.
And I think it's like the times off camera when we are navigating these dark times that allow us to be able to turn on the camera and still transmit that frequency 8 years later, and for people to still feel it and see it.
Beautiful.
We go to the farming, right?
Well, we just arrived, but you guys want to go farm?
Straight to the action.
You're some help in the cropping the some turmeric.
That's good for longevity.
Yes.
What's that?
My dad would be proud right now. I actually grew up working in my dad's farm.
So no problem, guys. Ammar will teach us.
It's such a well-cut, awkward, funny first meeting.
Yeah, throw you into the action right away.
Yeah, it really, as a moment, like I forgot you accomplished what we had talked about. I forgot I was watching anything or about these lights.
Yeah.
I forgot, and I was just feeling the awkwardness of this moment. It's so well captured, and that's what makes it interesting and fun. Not the second by second stuff. It's the actual moment shining through.
It's almost like the better the story is, the more like VR like it is. As you said, like when you said like, oh, you forget that, all these things, and then again, maybe it comes across as like self-centric to be saying that about my own, like our own work. But I do feel like you play this and then 10 seconds in, I am there and I forget that we're all here, and not in a way like I mean when you said it, it triggered that in me. I was like, that's so true.
I wonder if that's like a good bar. I'm just thinking about my own bar for editing. It's like, did everything else disappear? If yes, then like, great.
Yeah.
And if not, let me keep going back and make everything else disappear while I'm watching this,
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting thrown straight into the action and finding our first two core truths, spending quality time in nature and working with our hands, I'd like to welcome you to the magic little village of Ogimi. In the last few decades, this is one of only 5 places on Earth that have been labeled as blue zones. A region where the residents, for some reason, consistently live abnormally long lives and experience much fewer health concerns. We've already visited 2 of these 5 blue zones, one last year in Seulo, Sardinia, in Italy, where we stumbled upon a village festival.
It's my first 100-year-old plus that I made in my life.
And the other in Loma Linda, California.
You're how old?
78. I just ran a half marathon.
We're now ready to dive deeper once again in our third and very special blue zone, heading straight to one of their farms.
Yeah, we're at a farm.
So yeah, here is like, you also don't want to go too linear so that someone forgets, okay, what's the point? Yeah, I'm having fun with you guys, but I don't quite know what is it that I can expect. In other types of videos, we always have, and don't forget, before the end of the video, this thing will happen, and this thing will, like, this is kind of a more just like a lighter version of that.
Right.
Of just like reminding people that, oh yeah, there's other parts of the story and this is a glimpse of how it's going to develop.
I think it's also like a wonderful moment of structure after these very organic, authentic moments.
Yeah.
We get like a moment of education. Like you're giving us the concept of a blue zone and we get to learn a little bit about what that means.
Yeah.
Which just as a viewer, like I feel a little smarter for having watched this, which makes me feel like this is time well spent, which makes me feel like I'm not only enjoying this, but this is like watching these videos is like an investment in my own self and health. And then from a pacing perspective, it was like, okay, lots of structure at the beginning, then this wonderful like documentary following you guys having this first meeting, and then like a little bit more structure. That contrast and variance just adds like a lot to this sort of interest of the whole experience.
So when I look back at our videos, I think objectively they have gotten higher in quality, better in storytelling, all these different levers. We have refined it so much that even the scale of the stories and the impact of the stories, like everything checks. But when I look at audience behavior on YouTube, and it's obviously a big factor was like rearranging of the internet and, the internet not being this community based around creators, but now algorithmic preferences. The conclusion that I'm like closest to is that even though, yes, delivered on the consistent value that people expected. That expected was the problem. That there was a meta story happening in the background. You're still watching videos that are like idea-based videos, and you still got to convince people every time to watch. But there's another story happening in the background of this friendship growing. Are they gonna make it? Are they gonna hate each other? Are they gonna sue each other? Are they gonna, make it to the next million subscriber? Like all these questions that people are asking. There's a certain like wonder if the underdogs will make it. And I think as soon as we transition outside of that underdog, I noticed like an audience behavior shift where it became a lot more like you have to really convince people to come and watch, rather than there's this overall investment into the narrative. So I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts about that, and the way you've also, because you have a lot of, I love your ideas around just the internet, and that's it's our first time meeting, so
yeah,
I really respect your ideas and how you think about the internet.
Thank you. I mean, I think there's absolutely something to that, whether it's like the underdog or just that people are watching this thing grow and build, and people love rooting for the underdog. They love the story of the rebel. They love the emergent artist who hasn't won the Grammy yet. Like there's a lot of interest there. I also think the other part of it is something that is totally outside of, your control or my control or any creators, which is the sort of shift that the internet has gone through over the last couple of years. And obviously I'm biased about this as CEO of Patreon, but like, I do think the way that algorithmic curation has been, like the TikTok algorithm style of curation and recommendations, has now been applied to basically every platform. And the effect that I think that that's had on artist fandoms and creator communities is that instead of those communities getting tighter over time, there's now a natural anti-gravity for those communities to disperse. And creators like Yes Theory and others are now having to pull twice as hard to keep those communities together, because the natural entropy of those communities in a hyper recommendations, hyper personalization, hyper curation environment, the natural entropy of those communities is to blow up and disperse. And that, I think, I'm feeling with my bands. I'm feeling with Pomplamoose. I'm feeling with Scary Pockets, right? And I know a lot of creators who are experiencing that feeling right now. It's part of the zeitgeist of this moment in the internet that we're in. Yeah.
Well, let's clip that. That's the reel right there. That was beautiful. Well said.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Just threw a chicken at me. People in Okinawa have a sense of humor. That's for sure. Wow, this looks great. Thomas.
How did you find this guy?
That's like kudos to Melly, our producer, who is based out of Paris, and she just like goes in to make sure. I mean, here we could have never expected that we'd end up with the funniest, most like, he was just always in a mood to like fuck around and make jokes. Yeah, he was super funny. And I feel like a lot of what we end up getting in our videos are things like, it's not like Melly screened this guy and she was like, oh, it's a funny Japanese man who's gonna throw a chicken at you and you're right. Like, that's not how it goes. But, and I think, I can't prove it, but I've lived it. When you go in with certain energy, it's always it's always rewarded with the type of experience that emerges out of your desire to throw yourself at the moment and be as there. And also, especially when you also have the intention of like, we just want to bring the wisdom that is in this little island and show it to the world. Some things just align and things fall into place, and it's magical. And it's
Do they see your videos before you guys show up?
No.
They don't know who you are.
Yeah. This guy is so funny because during the night, so he starts understanding who we are, and during the night he puts the videos on that Yes Theory videos on that TV, and his hearing wasn't so good, so he turns on really loud and he's watching in 0.75. So he can still, because the subtitles show up, but it's so fast, so he needs more time. So I was listening to myself like this for a whole night. Oh my God. It was so hard.
You know what's so funny about this? This whole segment feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone. Like the snake and the alcohol. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
It's so weird and incredible.
Yeah.
I love that you guys documented this.
It's the only one. Kiss his hand.
Oh, wow, this is a lot of bottles of sake.
My
We
God.
quickly realized that our host has an endless supply of humor and pranks.
A clown as a host.
The director of a movie called Seabiscuit used this term, what's the emotional truth of the moment? Regardless of what actually happened or the plot or the sequence of events, what was the emotional truth? And watching this, I get the sense, and I want to ask you, like, this feels silly, ridiculous, crazy, wild, fun, chaotic. Like, is that the actual emotional truth of this moment? Did it feel like that in the moment?
Totally. We walked in and we knew we're being thrown at the sound. This is not produced. This is real life. Welcome. This guy's gonna make us do whatever he wants. I mean, and as you'll see in a second, like he makes this, not me. That they end up having, they took snake wine or some snake alcohol. Like the snake has been preserved in alcohol for like 20 years, and they just took shots of that.
You judged immediately.
The circus music?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like something's been sitting in there for a while. Okay, how long will I live now?
Does that mean finish this? 'Cause I'm not gonna.
He wants you to go the whole way.
Yeah.
Finish it. Finish it. Finish it. Come on, Tommy.
And Tommy was actually the mascot of the emotional truth of that moment, because he's just like, well, I guess we've got a clown of a host. So it's just like, he's just confused and, he's silly. And so, yeah.
When that happens, are you guys, because like if I were in that moment, I'd want to take out the camera, make sure I'm shooting everything. Like I'd almost sort of get out of the moment. Who's shooting all this as he's giving you a tour, and how do you know that everything's being captured properly?
So here, I think this would be Thomas, because Corey's in the shot. We almost like, because we've been doing it for so long, it's an unspoken thing. We just like, we're always aware of like, oh, this is a really cool moment. There's high energy. It's almost like my lever is like, a sense of feeling of energy in the room, and like, oh, we're like past a certain level. Then if there's no camera on, then I'll pick up a camera, I'll like signal to Thomas. But it's always like, we try to do it very, very subtly. It doesn't need to be a moment of like,
right.
It's actually more of like, just, like this.
Right.
And it makes a huge difference. People don't realize that. And it's funny because when I work with more proficient cinematographers, it's more, it
ruins the vibe.
Yeah. I actually, one thing I realized, I worked with wedding videographers, and they did incredible in our shoots because they're used to just taking a step back and wanting to like get all these high super emotional moments, and they have to be so aware of their environment. So I've actually found that was a good skill to transfer into like this style of documentary reality videos that we do.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, they're always there. They're like watching everything that is happening. If a cool moment is happening, just going to zoom in and get it from far.
It's a little bit of a Schrodinger's cat effect. It's like if the camera is observing it, the moment itself changes.
Yes.
And so I used to call it red light syndrome. Like we'd like be sitting here, I'd have somebody on the show, we'd be sitting talking, having a great time laughing. And then I would do the clap, and then we would just both go,
yeah.
And then it was like suddenly it was red light syndrome, and it's hard. You have to like combat that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy is the editor that you were telling us about. Okay.
And it's actually been a note on that, and it's made such an upgrade in the videos when he started. So now he's another host on the channel, and he splits his time between. Sometimes he hunkers down like right now, and he's just all editing. Like he didn't go to China with the team, and then on this trip he was with us in Korea and Japan, and he was in a lot of the episodes, and it's been really cool to see the effect of also him living through these experiences and his ability to bring the moments out in the edits, because he's no longer working from my perspective or Thomas's perspective as directors. He's actually also there, and he had his own sound cues and like ideas of what music could fit in that moment and how this joke could go for the on after. So it's been really amazing to see how a job that is usually like on a desk in some room, in a studio somewhere, and how much it's been enhanced by his participation in the videos.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such. it's so important and so good for an editor to have an experience of shooting, and for a shooter to have an experience of editing. It makes you better at whatever job you're doing.
Absolutely.
As opposed to being segmented and just doing your one focus.
That almost gives me the idea, like, that should be a part of like onboarding every editor and every shooter is do exactly that. They should just try the other person's job, because the shooter will realize, okay, you're overshooting now, and that is
I think we should stop there. This was so amazing having you, Ammar. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to finally meet you, and hopefully we just keep connecting over the next years. And
thank you so much. So great. You have such incredible wisdom. I love the way you think about storytelling and creation. It's inspiring. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you for your ideas and for what you built and just your contribution to this internet.